Hey, what's up, y'all? Back again with another video. Hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you guys are all doing well, taking care of yourself, eating foods that resonate with you the best, and drinking water. So I wanted to talk about gender wars and the whole chaos behind gender and why are we fighting so much over who's doing what, and are we tired? Are we not tired yet of fighting between each other, no matter what you are personally into, whatever sexuality you prefer to date, whatever sexuality you prefer to date? Are we not tired of fighting each other, going toe to toe with things that are just a waste of time? And we're not going internally enough. Like, the world has been set up to reach for something outside of us. You know, that's the only way that people know how to deal with things. There has been a huge gap in turning inward, meaning meditating, sitting with your pain, crying, releasing, doing the quote-unquote shadow work that we all hear, that we always hear. And so we're clashing with ourselves. People are clashing with themselves, fighting with themselves, having internal dialogues with themselves, and in return, projecting and putting it on to other people and making it other people's fault. So we are, in essence, having many wars with each other, which is distracting us from the bigger picture of why we're here on this earth. And I've talked about this before, but it's like, when are we going to get to the point where we're tired of it? I'm like, this is what we're doing. We would rather point fingers and tear down women and tear down men for what we think they should be or how they should act. And all of that, all of the dating styles, I feel like they need to be, I feel like they're outdated. The expectations and the pressure, it's outdated. And we should all be allowed to be ourselves instead of feeling restricted. So we're walking around here pointing fingers at others and trying to tear them down. And in essence, you are in return tearing yourself down, because we are all connected. We are all one. So the gender wars have gotten out of hand, and we are fighting for people who love to tear others down. And it's like, why do we even feel comfortable with doing that? And why don't we just have a natural respect for another, no matter what background they came from, no matter how much money they do or don't have? It's becoming really, really old, and people are having so many conversations about, gender and, like I said, what a woman should be doing or a man should be doing and how it should look in a relationship, and we've made it too complicated. And it should be just a simple thing. People are not able to really enjoy themselves on this earth. The people that are doing the work, putting in the work within themselves, they can't even really enjoy life because they're interacting with people who are in so much pain. We're going to get to a point where we leave all of the pain alone and we get over it. Like, we forget the systems of where we came from, how this world works. We forget astrology. We don't even look at our birth chart. We have not been introduced to these things on a spiritual level. So a lot of people are lost, pent up anger, frustration, jealous of other people on how they are. And and what they have and what they don't have. I know I've experienced this in my past a lot, where people are automatically jealous of me, automatically think because, oh my gosh, you're light-skinned and all these things. And I've dealt with racism before. I've been called the worst things as a light-skinned person, some racial things, as a light-skinned individual. So we can't judge people. Like, where is all this one-upping coming from? And I understand because of how the systems have been put together to allow us to put ourselves against other people, but there's some real genuine people out there that don't want to be in the chaos, don't want to be in the drama. It doesn't even matter like how much money they do or don't have. There are people on all levels that are tired of the chaos, tired of bickering with each other, tired of people not taking accountability for the things that they do, and being able to talk about it openly without feeling triggered or trying to hide. You know, there's a lot of facades that are here on this earth. Like I said, a lot of people pretend that they're one way, and they don't really express what's deep and down in here. They're even embarrassed to express themselves to others because in fear of how people will react. So it definitely causes a lot of unstableness because we have to portray a certain role, especially as a woman. You know, we have to play small. We can't be overly expressive, or else we'll be called too masculine. We can't, you know, women can't have their own car, their own home. They can't really provide for themselves because people are going to think that it's too much. They don't know where they fit in. You know, men don't know where they fit in. They don't know how else they can contribute when those things are small. Those are the basics. That's regular to be able to provide, to be able to make money. That's normal. This is normal stuff. And I feel as though we put so much, we put that as the top of the line of making that so important when it's just the basics. We put too much pressure on how much money someone should make or how much money they shouldn't make because of their gender. And like, it doesn't matter. It's the basics. Everyone deserves to eat. Everyone deserves water. Everyone deserves a place to live. And we shouldn't dangle a carrot to someone and make it appear that because you provide that the person that you're with needs to highly respect that. No, it's regular. It's regular. We all need it. You know, it's the basics. It's no award. You don't get an award for having to do these things. It's regular. You don't get an award for being a parent. You know, it just comes with the package that you decided to indulge in. That's what came out of you having sex and getting a child. So all these things are regular. So because we put it up here on a pedestal that everybody needs to have, you know, this is what makes a top tier person, and this is the hierarchy that we are contributing to people's egos and status and all this stuff. Because we put it up there like that, it causes so much pressure. It causes so much unhappiness when all of this stuff is regular. All of this stuff. We've contributed to the hierarchy. We have contributed to the status of, you know, having a certain type. We have contributed to the status of having a certain type of income. And all this, like, we put too much pressure on it, period. And if we were to retrain our minds and to look at it as something that's just a basic, then I feel like we would be more successful. we would have more room to put our energy into other things, into loving ourselves more. But no, society has put so much pressure on what it should look like, who should do what, and who should contribute in this way, in this form, and how a family should look, how a successful family should look. So it is trying to make people feel guilty. It's allowing people to feel guilty and shame because they don't have certain things, because they can't contribute in a way. It puts too much pressure. It locks you up. It locks the flow that you have within your body up to where you can't be free and flow and create. You know, even with the hierarchy in a family, like, I just always thought this was odd. Like, I don't know, this probably still goes on in some people's households, but you know, the man is the hierarchy, the king and all this stuff, and he has to get fed first before anyone else. It's like, how about we just all eat? I don't understand. Can we just all eat? Why does there have to be a hierarchy? Like, we're all hungry. Why can't everybody eat? If you're hungry, if your child is hungry, just give them the food. It doesn't have to be this special treatment of this person is the provider. But all this stuff is regular. This is regular stuff. It's not that hard as we make it seem. People in their minds put the pressure of having to provide, which locks us up with being able to interact with the people that we love, other people, in a flowy, smooth interaction. We can't even do it because we are so focused on how much money we make or who we are at our jobs and all this stuff. We bring our jobs to the home. Like, we don't know how to shut things off and detach and be a human, and knowing how to flow into different dynamics and leaving it there. Going to the next, when you're off of work, you're off of work. There's no need to think about it. If you're constantly thinking about your job and it's stressing you out, quit, you know? Quit. Find a plan to quit, to get out. We have to start raising our standards on how we view life in a respectful way, and by respecting the people around us, and stop thinking that we go above everyone. Like, no matter if you're a man or we are regular as hell. All of us are just human. We're all trying to eat. We're all trying to get some water. We're all trying to get a household. But we have to reframe our mind into thinking and with better habits. We have to have better thinking habits so we can come together. We can stop judging each other. We have to get rid of the pain that we have associated and dragged on from our, family members into our relationship, because we think we have not let go of the things that have happened to us when we were a child. We have not let that go. We have not sat with ourselves, cried it out, and moved on from it. Because you can't change anything. The story is just the story. You can't change anything. You can't change anyone. You can't change anything. You can't change what happened. You can't change anyone. You can only change yourself. So when you start to become having an awareness of yourself, putting yourself first, putting your health first before anyone, you put your health first, your internal, your spiritual, and your physical before anyone. That's no matter what situation you're in. I don't care if you have a bunch of kids, you gotta start putting yourself first. Like, we have to start making that a habit, because when we are not taking care of ourselves the best that we know how, then we start nitpicking other people. We start judging other people. We start tearing down other people. When it's all of a unit, a partnership, when you have a family, or if you're in a relationship. Like if a man was single, he still has to clean his laundry. He still has to cook for himself. He still has to do all these things. So it shouldn't be any separate when you are in a relationship. We shouldn't expect our partner to pick up after us or cook all the time, putting that pressure on them. It's better when the person, whoever your partner is better when they cook when they want to. It'll taste better. That person's gonna enjoy it because they're doing it not in a way where it needs to be forced, and if they don't cook one day, so what? Let your partner be a human being. We're not allowing each other to be human, to rest. We have the standards are too extreme. We should all have standards, but we should have realistic standards for ourselves and other people, because we always attract who we are anyways. We always attract and match our frequency anyways. Your children show you who you are anyways. Your children that you have, they show you exactly who you are. So we need to be lighter on them too, because if you produce them and they're acting up, you gotta figure out why they're acting up. We have to figure out why they're acting up, and we can't just blame it on their bad kid or treat them a certain way, or seclude them, or tell them that they're, that this sister or that brother is better. Why don't you act like this? And every child needs something. Every child needs something different. You produce that child, so there has to be a level of responsibility of whatever comes out of that child, and having a level of detachment, from that child, and allowing them to be themselves as well. But the gender wars are just getting insane. I feel like we're not being realistic. We're not having grace for each other, and it's too much. It's getting exhausting, and everybody's just pointing fingers at each other and getting nowhere. And we have a lot of men who are just talking and being overly confident because they feel like they provide something, which is money, which is great. That's awesome. But we don't have to be rude. And same thing for women. Going back and forth and expecting men to be this way and putting pressure on them. The whole pressure between each other needs to stop, because you're always going to find your partner. You're always going to find your match. Whatever work you've been doing internally, you're always going to find your match, or you're going to find your weaknesses within your match as well. We don't take accountability for the insecurities that we hold. We don't. People don't. People do not look at themselves at times, and they're scared of it. They're scared to look at themselves in the mirror. They're okay with looking at themselves in the mirror when they're putting on makeup and getting dressed in the morning and stuff like that, or getting ready or dressed, but they don't look people don't look at themselves. They can't see beyond, the material things. So this is where we get lost. This is where we forget what love is really about. And like I said, people put on a lot of facades and pretend. People are a lot of great actors. There's a lot of great actors that are walking around here and thinking that they have it together, and they don't. People don't. A lot of people are crumbling inside, and they're not being honest about it. They're not being honest at the fact that they are not happy in their relationships. They're not being honest. And it's like, if you're not happy in your relationship, is it really the partner or is it you? So what has your past relationships look like? Being more honest with the past relationships that you've had, and what was the pattern in those relationships and owning up to the patterns that you contributed to in those past relationships. We have to get through the pain and start looking at situations that have happened objectively. What are we not contributing to? Are we not giving ourselves enough love? Are you not paying attention to yourself? Because that's where a lot of anger and imbalance comes from, is from not looking at your own needs, not fulfilling your own needs, not involving a person. What are your needs? We're not taking care of, people are not taking care of themselves. They're not, because if we took better care of ourselves, even if you are physically fit, if we are not taking care of ourselves in a spiritual manner, then we are going to nitpick people. We are going to judge people. We are. Absolutely, people are definitely going to judge others. Because when you are full within, you don't have time. You don't even see things about people unless you're assessing it in an objective way. But no, there's just a lot of unhealthiness that's going on mentally and internally and physically, and we're not taking accountability for it. People are not taking accountability for it. And the big thing, the piece that's definitely missing, is the spiritual aspect of humanity. The spiritual aspect of really knowing yourself. If we would have started with having our birth chart ran since we were younger, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be going on. A lot of it wouldn't be going on. But we like to blame other people, make others feel bad for doing the work, looking at themselves, looking at the insecurities that they have. Those people get attacked at times because they have been looking at themselves, addressing the pain, doing the shadow work within. And so when people are like that and they answer to their insecurities, they love who they are, they love every aspect about themselves, people are going to be like vultures. People can be vultures. It's like people can't even be their free self. And some people think that they're free, they're being their free self, but in actuality, they are just hiding. Sometimes people hide behind being bubbly and the kindest person and being the funniest person. Like, that's not what it's about. People hide behind that too, and you think that they are happy. No, it's a mask. That could definitely be a mask. Like me, I'm boring. I'm boring at times, and most people would think that I'm boring. So what? I've done that. I've done these things, I've done that. I just don't want to participate in things that I know that do not contribute to my growth, do not make me happy anymore. My way of living and doing things and what makes me happy is simple. Being me, being free to express myself however I want to, my hair, the way that I walk, the way that I talk, however it is. But we people like to attack other people because they're being themselves. And it's just their true natural selves. Not the ones that are hiding behind their pain or hiding behind being overly happy. Being overly happy and being, all in the drama. All that stuff is old. None of it is cute. No one is better than the other. Everybody's personality contributes in a different form, And so if you want a specific type if a person wants a specific type of partner and they're going for something that they probably shouldn't date, we're not being honest of who we should date. We're not being honest with the people we should be dating and what we can handle. We have to know where we fit when it comes to relationships and dating people. Are you going to be able to handle a certain type of person? There's women out there that are very upfront, very in their masculine essence, and also feminine. They have a way to balance it out, and people find that intimidating, and sometimes they're alone a lot because people don't know what to do with it. They don't know what to do with that type of energy. They see it as too much. And it's like, no, that person is very well balanced in who they are, whatever gender they prefer. It's because people like someone who's they can manipulate, they can run over, they can control. We're not here to control anyone or anything. We're not here to control anything or anyone. Even if you birth someone, you're not here to control your children either. So people have a bad habit of trying to control others, and in that aspect that's in humans to try to control people, that has to die. That's outdated as well, and we're still operating in that. People are still operating in that realm. This is something that has to be practiced. This has to be a mind adjustment to know and understand that you can't control anyone. No one. No matter how bad you want them to be something, they don't have to be anything for you. So we have too much attachments that are invisible that people it's not connecting. They're not connecting the dots. They would rather talk about someone instead of just saying, oh, that's not the type of woman for me. Or that's not the type of man for me. And then just move on. There doesn't need to be a drawn out conversation of saying that person's too masculine or that guy's too soft. It's just not for you. Every single individual person here brings a different type of essence in this world that's necessary. But we don't have to get on someone or blame something outside of ourselves to say that that man is too soft, or was he raised around a bunch of women, or so what if he was, or there's a chemical in a water bottle that's making people gay or bisexual. People choose to be what they want. It was already in them. It was already in them to be that way. I don't believe that, if we're walking around allowing our decisions and acting on decisions and we don't know why, then we're just clueless. We're just clueless. And so we can't let things and what people say overpower our decisions of what we want to do as an individual, or blame it on something. That's a cop-out to me. We're not allowing people to be who they are. We're not respecting people. People try to control others, and it's a lot of undoing that has to happen. And it's crazy because I feel as though that something tragic, I don't know why people are like this, but something tragic has to happen for people to change, for people to soften up, for people to open their eyes to see what really love is. Why does it have to get to that extent for someone to die close to you, for something to happen to an individual, for people to actually wake up? We don't have to get to that. We don't have to get to that point. We don't have to get to the point where we're triggered to make a decision to actually change our lives, to get sick, and then that's when a person wants to change. How about we start loving ourselves right now? How about we start taking care of ourselves the best way that we know how now. And a lot of people have an unwillingness to take care of themselves. They don't have a drive to do it. They don't see the purpose. You are the purpose. You are the purpose of why you should start taking care of yourself. You don't need anyone's motivation to do it. It doesn't matter what your environment looks like. We all know what a vegetable is. I don't care if it's in a can or what. We all know what a vegetable is. We all know what water is. It's just making a simple choice to be for yourself. You're here for a reason. There's absolutely a reason for you to be here. I don't care what you look like. There's absolutely a reason for you to be here. There's something that you have that others don't have. There's something that you could teach. Your life could be a representation of how you improved yourself. You're fighting for you. You're not doing it for anyone else. You're not doing it for your kids. You're not doing it for your husband, your wife. You're doing it for you. You're not doing it even for your culture, to represent your culture. It's not even about that. It's about you. So, the extreme of these gender wars, people need to start looking at themselves. People need to feel more comfortable with crying. Like, cry sometimes. It's fucking normal. It's normal to cry. It's normal to feel sad. It's normal to have a bad day. It's normal to feel like you don't want to be on this earth. It's normal to feel that, but you're not allowing that to overtake you. That's the thing. That is what's missing in people's lives, is the understanding that just because you feel what you feel, you don't have to let it overtake you. You could just feel it. You could cry. You could do whatever you need to do to get it out. But there's no reason to be embarrassed, whether you're a man or a woman, because what people like to do with women too is say that they cry too much, that the men don't cry enough. And it's like, who are we to really say who's doing what or what they're doing too much? Let people be. Let people be. We don't know what people are doing behind closed doors. We don't know how much growth someone has actually gotten to. But what I do understand is that we need to stop pointing fingers at each other and looking at ourselves. So I'm sick of the gender wars. Like, it's getting played out. Like, people need to get it together. Stop. They need to. It's okay. Basically, it's okay to have an ego, but there's a toxic side of your ego that people feed into a lot. And we're just too worried about other people. We're worried about showing off for someone else. Like, why? Do things for you. This life is for you. So thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. And